I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, I'd like to take this chance to apologize to absolutely nobody. The double champ does what the fuck he wants. Who the fuck is that guy? Who the fuck is that?
Conor McGregor was one of the most polarizing fighters the UFC has ever seen. From 2015 to 2017, you couldn't talk about MMA without mentioning his name. He was electric on the mic, lethal on the cage, and for a while, it truly felt like he was the UFC. He brought millions of new fans to the sport. He had casuals tuning in. He made non-MMA fans care. You could even say that UFC's global rise and popularity was largely thanks to him. And at his peak, many believe Conor McGregor was on his way to becoming the greatest mixed martial artist of all time. But then, it all came crashing down. McGregor's MMA journey started in 2008 in Dublin, Ireland. Fighting under the Irish Ring of Truth promotion, he won his professional debut via TKO over Gary Morris. Over the next 5 years, he built a reputation as an exciting, fast-finishing fighter. From 2008 to 2013, none of his fights even made it past the second round. By 2013, Dana White had heard the buzz. McGregor had gone 12-2 and was the hottest prospect in Europe. That same year, he signed with the UFC in the featherweight division, and right away, he made an impact. His debut came on April 6, 2013 against Marcus Brimage. It didn't take long, just 67 seconds. McGregor dropped Brimage and finished him with a vicious ground and pound. He won the knockout of the night. The hype train officially took off. Just 4 months later, he fought Max Holloway. For the first time in his MMA career, the fight went the distance. McGregor won by unanimous decision, but tore his ACL in the process. That injury sidelined him for nearly a year. When he returned in July of 2014, it was in his hometown of Dublin, and he headlined the card. Diego Brando, and knocked him out in the first round. The crowd was electric. The UFC knew they had a star on their hand. From there, McGregor went on a tear. He won 4 more fights, including a first-round TKO over Dustin Poirier, a man he'd later meet, again with much different results. Then came his big opportunity, a title shot against Jose Aldo, the longtime undefeated featherweight champ. The UFC poured everything into this fight. Dana White called it the biggest promotional push they had ever done at the time. But just 2 weeks out, Aldo pulled out with a rib injury. Chad Mendes stepped in on short notice to fight for the interim belt. At UFC 189, Mendes dominated early with his wrestling, but McGregor stayed patient. In round 2, McGregor landed a beautiful left hand that knocked Mendes out cold. He was now the interim champ and set to face Aldo once and for all. 6 months later, at UFC 194, the long-awaited McGregor vs. Aldo fight took place. But just 13 seconds into the fight, one punch was all it took. A left hand straight to the jaw, and Aldo was out cold. It was the fastest finish in UFC's title fight history. Aldo's unbeaten streak was gone in a flash. McGregor had arrived. At this point, most fighters would defend their belt, but not Conor. He wanted more. He moved up 2 weight classes to face Nate Diaz on short notice at UFC 196. And for the first time in the UFC, McGregor lost. Diaz submitted him in the second round after a wild brawl. But the loss only added to the drama and to McGregor's legend. The rematch happened later that year at UFC 202, and this time McGregor edged out a decision win in one of the most brutal back-and-forth wars the UFC had ever seen. The card did 1.6 million in pay-per-view buys, a record at the time. After beating Diaz, McGregor set his sights on history. He moved to the lightweight division to face Eddie Alvarez for the title. At UFC 205, one of the biggest events in UFC history, McGregor dominated Alvarez and won by second round TKO. He became the first fighter in UFC history to hold titles in 2 weight classes at the same time. He had conquered featherweight, He had conquered lightweight. He was a global superstar, and he had the world in the palm of his hand. In 2017, McGregor took a step away from MMA. He wanted to box. Specifically, he wanted to fight Floyd Mayweather Jr. It seemed crazy, a UFC fighter crossing over to face one of the greatest boxers ever. But after months of negotiation, it finally happened.
UFC lightweight champion of the world, the notorious Conor McGregor!
What's up, London?
The fight took place in August of 2017 and became one of the most hyped combat sports events all time. McGregor surprised many, lasting 10 rounds before Mayweather secured a TKO win. But win or lose, McGregor walked away with around $100 million. He didn't chase greatness, he chased the bag, and he got it. But that payday came at a cost. While McGregor was enjoying his newfound wealth, his UFC titles were stripped due to inactivity. For the featherweight belt, then the lightweight. Khabib Nurmagomedov claimed the vacant lightweight title in 2018 and became the new king of the division. That set the stage for one of the most anticipated fights in UFC history, McGregor versus Khabib. The lead-up was chaotic. McGregor went on a media blitz, trash-talking Khabib's family, religion, and country. He even attacked a boss Khabib was on during UFC 223 Fight Week, shattering windows and injuring fighter. That moment became one of the most infamous in UFC history. When they finally fought at UFC 229, McGregor was the favorite, but Khabib dominated. He out-wrestled and out-muscled McGregor for 4 rounds before submitting him with a neck crank. After the fight, Khabib jumped out of the cage to fight McGregor's team. A brawl broke out. It was mayhem. Despite losing, McGregor walked away with $3 million and still had a massive star power, but the shine was slowly fading. After the Khabib loss, McGregor's life began spiraling. In 2019, he suddenly announced his retirement from MMA, only to return later and fight Donald "Cowboy" Cerrone in early 2020. He won the fight in just 40 seconds, his first win since 2016. It felt like the old McGregor might just be back. But that momentum didn't last. He fought Dustin Poirier in a rematch at UFC 257 in 2021 and got knocked out in the second round. Then just a few months later in the trilogy fight at UFC 264, McGregor broke his leg at the end of the first round. Since then, he hasn't returned. And while he was gone, the headlines weren't about training or recovery. They were about lawsuits, arrests, bar fights, and scandals. Sexual assault allegations, assaulting an elderly man in a pub, lawsuits from photographers, just a constant stream of chaos.
A civil jury in Ireland finds that mixed martial arts fighter Conor McGregor sexually assaulted a woman in a hotel penthouse during a night of heavy partying. The jury then awarded the woman more than $250,000 for her lawsuit. The woman says it happened in December of 2018. She claims McGregor brutally raped and battered her, leaving her heavily bruised and suffering from post-traumatic stress. McGregor testified he never forced her to do anything.
However, McGregor still wanted a chance at the belt one more time. In 2024, he was supposed to fight Michael Chandler for his comeback and maybe a chance at the belt. This was hyped as his big comeback. But McGregor pulled out due to a toe injury. Fans were skeptical. Some believed he never truly planned to return. And maybe they were right.
Stacking them up, baby.
Not against me, I'm not, Michael, yeah? Some of these kids are in the UFC before you're in the UFC. So don't be start trying to say, yeah, this and that.
As long as you show up for them, baby, if you showed up for them,
break your nose, you little fool. Yeah, what? Oh, take your
Now in 2025, things are even weirder. McGregor has now officially announced he's running for president of Ireland. That's right, from fighter to businessman to political candidate. He is currently campaigning for president in Ireland. And let's not forget his acting career. He starred in the Roadhouse reboot with Jake Gyllenhaal, but he looked completely out of it. Most fans online said he looked high the entire time, just not the same McGregor. It was another reminder that this isn't the same guy who once ran the UFC at one point.
I landed one punch
Once.
and he hit me with a door.
Other than that, it was absolutely perfect.
That's true.
And I just took it. You know, we had a good rapport on set. He has 75 movies made. I have 75 bar fights made. And that's it. We had a good...
Conor McGregor now feels more like a brand than a rough fighter. He's rich, he's famous, he's got a whiskey line and fitness app, fashion deals, movie appearances, and now a political campaign. But what he doesn't have is his fighting edge. He hasn't fought in over 4 years. He has just one win since 2016. And even if he does return, it's hard to believe he'll ever be a true contender again. The UFC has moved on, new stars are shining, and Conor is stuck chasing the path.
The White House, Dana White said, you and John Jones, that's a real deal.
I'm going home, I'm going to get the head down, I'm going to rest. They're testing me, I'm in the pool. I says, he always say, man, I thought that's what the pools are for, jumping in and out. But I'm back in the pool, so get ready and stay ready, because damage will be done. Oval Office, White House.
The rise of Conor McGregor was absolutely legendary. From chasing welfare checks in Dublin to holding 2 belts, selling out arenas, and fighting Floyd Mayweather for $100 million, it was one of the greatest runs in sports history. But the fall, that's been tough to watch. Fame, money, ego, and bad decisions caught up to him. Conor McGregor went from being the face of the UFC to a shadow of his former self. And unless he pulls off something truly spectacular, this might be how his story ends. This was the rise and fall of Conor McGregor. Let me know in the comments, do you think he'll ever fight again in the UFC, or is legacy already set? Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, follow, and sub for more.
Sportstown.